all the shoppers go. Empty hangers and unchanged stock won't attract customers. I'm Mary Wright. I'm a store manager. And it's my business to know what can happen if you don't use the Guide to Thrift Store Operation. But there's something better in store. What's in store? Bright promise whenever a new store is opened. The Officer's Guide to Thrift Store Operations tells how to turn the grand opening into a notable community event. And with the ceremonies, perhaps with a celebrity to cut the ribbon, there is the challenge to enable each store to live up to its potential. For after the excitement has faded, success depends on how you conduct your daily operations.
There is a secret of success for thrift stores, and it can work just as well for all stores, large or small. It isn't just the size of its neighborhoods or of the thrift store. It's how you move your merchandise that makes for sales. So, the secret of successful operation consists of doing what everyone connected with each thrift store is supposed to do. Pay regular attention to the guide. Enjoy the success it has proved it can bring. In store after store, year after year. Within this framework, we can all be the freer to use our individual ingenuity and spirit of enterprise.
I always seem to find something I didn't know before, no matter how well I think I know the guide.
Oh, I keep the guide handy. And besides that, it makes a lovely paperweight. I even read some of it once. It says, replace merchandise. Why bother? We don't have enough folks in to buy what we've got already.
Force-feeding a thrift store means keeping your stock moving and making sure you have enough on reserve to keep ahead of your sales. Let's consider the beginning of a typical cycle of the moving of the goods. When the order list is filled out, don't wait until the display areas or back room become depleted. Anticipate your needs. Order enough ahead so that you'll have enough in your display spaces as sales occur, continually throughout the day. These regular orders from each of the center's stores are phoned to the store supervisor as scheduled daily. Each store also includes the latest daily figure on sales receipts. The store supervisor then compiles this information together with comparison figures so each store's day-to-day progress can be studied. These vital records go onto the administrator's desk at the start of each day. If the sales are down, he can take steps to correct the problem. If sales are up, he can take advantage of an upswing trend to make future reports even better. Don't delay your reports and orders. Don't let them pile up. Store sales are increased when these regular store reports are phoned rather than mailed. Your guide's reference to mailing requisitions is the minimum requirement. Though stores may be many miles distant, avoid the temptation to spend less by using mail instead of the telephone. But the information gained can result in the sale of additional merchandise that is worth a great deal more than the saving of a telephone bill. So don't be postage-wise and phone foolish. Let's concentrate on clothing. Clothing turnover accounts for more than half the sales of the average store. Self-service is the efficient practice in the clothing sections. Stock clerks and other personnel, in the course of their duties around the floor, should be prepared to answer the questions of customers. But they should tactfully avoid time-consuming service on a one-to-one basis. The secret of a successful clothing operation can be found in its stockroom. Recently received merchandise is gathered together here and made ready to move out onto the floor as needed. The stockroom is also a collection point for items the clerks remove from the store because of outdating or other indications that they have not proved saleable. Regularly, as the day's sales progress, the staff should work through the display sections, eliminating the spaces that have been emptied by moving the hung clothing together. Fresh items are moved to the front of the rack. Stock bearing older dates is grouped onto the last position. To keep merchandise attractive, the hangers should be spaced an average of 1 inch apart. An easy way to do this quickly is to allow just enough room between hangers to bring the width of a finger between them. Repricing is kept current by marking down the older tags as the date warrants. Keep the clothes together by their color tags. Notice of the color of the month will be posted regularly in each store and each sorting room. It's our required system for weeding out unsaleable items that are stealing space from fresh selections. Take advantage, too, of that other choice of price tag colors, pink, for new and nearly new items. Remember, the average pink tag represents an above-average sale. I'm always glad to see full attendance at these quarterly meetings. Not only is it a requirement of the guide, it gives our sales personnel and store managers a chance to know what's going on at the other stores. Yes?
Major, I went into a big department store on my day off. Everything seems so different from the way we do things.
Well, I hope so. The customers of department stores and specialty shops know that they will find pretty much the same selection from hour to hour and day to day. But it can be good news all the time for our customers because they can return to the same store at different times in the same day and find different items and different bargains. We add the element of mystery to the experience of shopping. It keeps our customers intrigued with our stores and puts more merchandise in front of the customers.
Major,
Yes, Mary?
my eyes keep going to that graph. Would you please explain it?
I'm glad you asked that, Mary.
Well, this chart represents your sales on an hour-to-hour basis. Let's say your store is open from 9 until 6. Now, the dotted line represents poor stocking with items not replaced throughout the day. The solid line represents continuous stocking. Now, for example, say the store has 5,000 garments on the floor when the store opens at, let's say, 9 a.m. An average of value of $1 each. You can be sure that the best merchandise will be selected first. As the day progresses, the average value will drop at an increased pace. Now remember, if all the clothing were sold when the store opens, you would receive $5,000. But if the store is constantly stocked, you'd have the early hour income and all the rest of the hours at the same peak potential, because the average value is maintained from hour to hour. If stock is constantly replaced, you increase the potential income because the average value at closing time would still be $1 instead of an average value of 60 to 70 cents. So what the chart says is this: the only way to keep your sales up is to keep putting out fresh merchandise and keep your stock up constantly.
What happens to the merchandise before it's delivered to our stores?
General sorting begins at the truck dock as items are brought in. Some are declared unsaleable. Some are salvaged for raw materials and ragging. Some are routed to the as-is store. And some are sent to the various shops where the people taking part in our rehabilitation program repair or process them into saleable condition. And this provides them with some very necessary work therapy. Clothing goes to the sorting room where unsaleable garments are culled out. They go to the rag baler. The rest of the clothing is of particular interest to store personnel.
After sorting, the clothing is segregated by pricing. Here, too, the actual methods may vary from center to center, depending on equipment and building space. Experienced pricers can tell at a glance what the traffic should bear for each item as it comes to hand. Pricing Then tagging. Tags should be attached to the same general part of the clothing, as often as possible at the shoulder, to bring it to the crown of the hanger. This makes it easier to check the tags in the store and saves time in marking down. For items with hard surfaces, use the standard pressure-sensitized tags. These tags are fixed in such a way that the lines across them match up with overlapping lines on the merchandise, making it easy for store cashiers to tell at a glance if customers have attempted to switch tags. After pricing comes preparation for shipping. Clothes are straightened out as they are put onto hangers, or folded neatly with 1 or 2 buttons buttoned and zippers partially zipped. It is at this point that the items are given any necessary touches to make them saleable. The standard plastic hanger should be used instead of wire hangers. The plastic hangers enable clothes to be kept more orderly on the rack, and clothes can be straightened on them much more quickly in the store. Shipping clerks should be able to fill their requisition lists with speed and accuracy. They also need the ability to make rapid judgments of selection, to give balance in filling the orders for each store. Orders for stores are shipped in lockable, secured containers. Each store manager is instructed to phone the office immediately if the seal has been broken or the container has been opened. This protects everyone concerned.
Many commodities can be fast movers if they're given the attention they deserve. The average shoe rack has 3 general divisions of shoe sizes. Average purchases naturally concentrate on the average size group from 7.5 to 10.5. After a few days of sales, most of the average replacements are needed in the medium-sized group. There's a tendency to make refills according to general assortments, without regard for actual needs. Now, this means that the shoe display will eventually consist of more of the less popular sizes, and less of the more saleable sizes, as the racks continue to be refilled. And less, and less.
Nobody ever wants our shoes. I don't know why we even bother to carry them.
We order our refill shoes by the sizes we need. And do we ever sell shoes?
Of course, you want to make your stores as attractive as possible. Specialized displays, such as antique collections of jewelry and other conversation pieces, can bring your store added sales. Some of our stores develop their own specialty collections and call attention to them with built-in settings, eye-catchers, often named for current trends. Promotion in the news media, together with favorable reactions and word of mouth, brings in the young set and others with good buying power. Ideas can add to the individuality of your store. Be innovative. Make suggestions. If you feel that one or more of your thrift stores are not bringing in their full potential, consider rearranging it. You will find many practical suggestions for arrangement in your guidebook. Don't neglect one of the most important parts of your store, the checkout counter. Locate your checkout counter as close to the exit as practical. Now, this gives you better security, decreasing the opportunity for theft. Aside from everything else that's wrong with this picture, It should be remembered that cashiers do not have eyes in the back of their heads and should not leave their registers untended unless locked. If the store has more than one cash register, the second cashier may lock up and work the floor on sales, but should remain on call when customers jam up at the counter. Each center can add its own touches to the checkout counter. One such idea is the plastic shield built around three sides of each cash register to prevent thieves from suddenly reaching around into the till. Some customers may remove tags, hoping to be quoted a lower price. Other customers may try to buy packages they have broken open. When told that these items cannot be sold and must be kept by the cashier to send back to the center for repricing or repackaging, some customers become irate. So one center has developed the technique of having its cashiers remove the item from the customer's intended purchases and then immediately begin ringing up the customer's other items at a faster pace. This takes attention away from the items that have been retained by the store and avoids arguing. Cashiers are selected for the ability to be courteous, efficient, and to adhere to policy. Customers may ask why the Salvation Army sells the items people donate. And you should be able to answer in your own words briefly that there are more than 120 adult rehabilitation centers throughout the United States, taking more than 100,000 people into their full-time residence program every year, including help for women as well as men. All providing essential social services, spiritual guidance, and work therapy. Everybody gains. There's no other program like it. And in the process, helping families with limited incomes buy goods at thrift store prices. And it's all made possible through the recycling of usable materials.
You wanted to see me.
I'll say I did. I just think you expect me to produce too much.
Well, let's look at it this way. If we didn't all keep on our toes, we'll only sell, let's say, half as much, then we'd only need half as much space, and we could only afford to pay half as much, so we might have to cut our staff by 50%. But if we all give our best efforts, then we'll need all of our floor space and maybe even have to enlarge, and we'll need all of our staff and then some. Now, what do you say about that?
Well, now I understand. And it'd make the job more interesting, too. Well, why are we just standing here talking about it?
How well each store succeeds depends on certain definite considerations. The monthly income per square feet of store space, the monthly income per each employee, the monthly percentage of cost of operation versus the store's monthly income. These operational yardsticks are essential and can only produce the necessary results if you continuously keep moving the goods by force feeding, marking down, pulling out, putting out merchandise. Everyone's future is at stake, including yours.
It's all in your guidebook, so go back to it frequently.
What's in store? It's all summed up in your ability to make your cash registers play a sweet tune, all for the one big cause, the good work of the Salvation Army.
May God bless and bring success to our work.